Thanks for listening to Mike Douglas, Michigan's retirement coach.
I think one thing we can all agree upon, taxes suck.
Taxes suck.
Who's with me? Who's with me? I am a proud American, and I am happy to pay taxes when it comes to infrastructure, keeping the roads and highways safe, the military, taking care of people that need to be taken care of. It's the advantages that people take of the system.
It's all the other stuff.
It's all the other stuff. It's government spending that's inexplicable. Why am I being punished because the government can't get it together? All of those things that I believe so many Americans are in agreement with us upon in this topic of conversation that we are going to attempt to tackle at least a tiny sector of today. This is Mike Douglas, certified financial planner, Michigan's retirement coach. I'm Heather Branch. We are here to share some knowledge with you. Mike's here to share his knowledge. I'm here to play the dumb blonde that I have no idea what I'm doing. Please help me. That's my role, and I am happy to oblige. Beginning with the idea of the taxes are just so freaking confusing. They become more and more confusing, and also they can change the code anytime they want to, just because they feel like it, and make it more confusing on us. So the idea about contributions to an after-tax Roth IRA, those can be made up until April 15th and still count towards the previous tax year. But is the deadline the same if you want to convert a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA? Do I even make sense with the question I just attempted to ask you? I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah, you do, because I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so thank you. Please clarify.
Let's kind of separate into two worlds.
Okay.
So let's start from this. In the IRS's world, in the world of money, there's retirement account money, and there's non-retirement account money. Let's start with there, okay? In retirement accounts, you have IRAs, which have, like traditional IRAs, never been taxed. 401ks, which have never been taxed. 403bs, 457s, all those have never been taxed. Mm-hmm. Or you have the Roth stuff, Roth IRA, Roth 401k. Those have been taxed, but they're still in the retirement account world. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The other world is like your bank money. If you have a brokerage account, which is stocks that you've bought, which is regular money, no tax advantages, regular money accounts. So take those out. We're only covering things in the retirement account world. We'll start with that.
Okay.
In the retirement account world, there's one way that money comes into the world.
Yeah.
And then once it's in there, it can move around. So to put money into the retirement account world, that's called a contribution, right? So I take money that's from my bank or from something else or inheritance or whatever. And as you take that, it comes into the world through a contribution. You're allowed so much per year you're allowed to contribute. Now, if it's from a regular IRA or regular Roth, there's a limit of about $8,500 if you're over the age of 50, $7,500 if you're under. So like there's limits on it. And that is set by the government. It's adjusted every year. And that contribution for each year has to be made by April 15th of the following year. So for example, if it's April 15th of this year to make last year's contribution.
Okay.
That's it. And so it comes in there. Now, in terms of the 401k spot, right? If I'm putting money for a 401k, well, that comes from my employer, my payroll. That comes in weekly, so it's not subject to this contribution rule.
Okay.
Since it's just direct pulled. But this is for the IRAs. So that's contributions. Money comes in, whether it's Roth or it's pre-tax IRA. If it's going into one of those two, it has till April 15th for last year. Now, you can write two checks the same day. Say, this is my 2024 contribution and this is my 2025 contribution. You can do that.
Okay.
And remember, that's for you and your spouse, right? So if you wanted, like, how much could you possibly contribute? Well, even like for us, Kimberly doesn't work. She stays home with the kids, which is much more work than I do, a job you never clock out of. So, but if we wanted to make a contribution to her IRA, we can. It's called a spousal IRA or spousal Roth. We can use the fact that I earn income to contribute to her retirement account. So you put money in for her for last year and money in for me for last year.
Okay.
And then that's till April 15th. That's contributions. Conversion means money that's already inside this world, right? If we say, all right, over here I have my Roth IRA and my Roth 401k. Over here I have my regular IRA, my 401k, and an old 401k for somebody else. I want to take money from here and put it over here, staying in the same world, right? So that's conversion. I'm going to convert pre-tax money to after-tax money with a Roth.
Okay.
If I do that model, that is still staying inside the retirement account world. That has a December 31st deadline.
Okay.
You cannot go past that.
So anything that we do now, because but when we're recording this podcast, it's March in 2025. So anything we do right now is only going to be about 2025. We can't go and mess with things from our 2024 calendar year in that space that you're just describing.
Correct. Yeah. So you cannot go through and adjust last year as far as conversions go.
Okay.
So what options do you have, right?
Yeah.
So if you do that conversion, are there benefits to it? Yeah, I think there's absolutely benefits to it. You're choosing to never pay taxes on your interest ever again. That's a beautiful thing about Roth. There's quite a few, and we've covered that in a couple different videos, but to put it in there, those are your deadlines. Those are your hard and fast rules. There's no grace on the 1231 conversion.
Okay.
You can't write a form letter. There's no form 5329.
Dear Mr. Senator,
nothing.
Help me.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Yeah. Dear IRS, please forgive me.
Right.
No, they're like, no, it's this year. It's over.
Yeah.
So when should you do it?
Yeah.
I guess would be a next follow-up question.
Yeah.
There's a couple schools of thought. Let me tell you where I fall on it.
Okay.
Some people say get it converted as early in the year as possible so the interest earned all year is tax-free.
Okay.
I like that. I agree with that. However, if you're retired or you're no longer in the workforce, you are completely retirement account dependent between Social Security, maybe a pension, and retirement account dependent to live your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say we do a Roth conversion in March, so you get gains all year long. And then 6 months from now, your roof goes out and you need to put in a whole new roof on your house. You need to replace your furnace, whatever it is. And you have to pull out $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 out of your IRAs to pay for it. Well, I did a Roth conversion in March, and now in August or September, I got to pull out another $25,000. That may kick you to a higher tax bracket.
Okay.
That may kick up extra taxes on your Social Security. That may kick you into the next Medicare tax bracket or income limit bracket for your IRMA. So now I have to pay more for my Medicare premiums. I can't go back and fix my Roth conversion. I can't remove it.
Okay.
Once it's done, it's done.
Okay.
So you can't go back in time. Now, if you're working and making contributions, it doesn't matter. You're probably going to pay for it out of your paycheck or finance it, whatever.
Right.
But once you're retired, I don't know what's going to happen. I do know what has happened. So I tell a lot of my clients, I feel like we should be doing Roth conversion November, December.
Okay.
Because we know all the expenses you've had through the year, all the things that popped up you didn't plan on. And so we know the exact amount that's appropriate to convert. And so we convert it, and then it grows tax-free the whole next year. So you really only, in my opinion, miss out on 1 year of this tax-free growth. But I've just seen so many times where people come in and say, hey, I had a medical bill that popped up I didn't plan on.
Mm-hmm.
We owe $35,000. I have a kid who needs money and I need to give to them, and it's going to cost me $40,000 or whatever the thing comes up. And I say, I can't go back and fix that Roth conversion. So now it's not even just that you paid taxes. You paid extra or more taxes because we didn't know the future. If we just wait to do Roth conversion until the 1 year, you do miss out on potentially tax-free gains. However, if the market's down that year, you actually didn't miss out on anything. But that's the risk you're running. Do I make the conversion now, try to squeeze every ounce of juice out of this gain, but roll the dice a little bit on if I need money or not later this year? I just think it's not worth the risk for a lot of retirees. But for younger folks, if you say I'm going to make this Roth conversion, but it doesn't matter because I'm 50 years old and I'm going to keep on working, then just do it as early as possible and get that thing cooking. And if your company offers a Roth 401k, start flipping over to that thing as soon as possible as well.
All right. MichigansRetirementCoach.com. If you want to start these conversations, if you have questions, Mike, about Roth conversions, you can go there, begin that conversation. We also have links posted in the show notes. Thinking about Roth conversions, just touching on what you've touched on, I do feel it's a bit of a tricky business because Roth has been such a hot word for so long. And the idea of a Roth conversion has been a hot term for the past several years. Everybody's just been really talking about it just because of our national debt. And we just believe taxes are going to go up. So protect yourself now, think defensively now, Roth convert, right? But it's not as simple, I think, as some people want it to be. So, and there are also, to boot, so many terrific DIY investors that have done a great job. And so they hear something like this and they're like, I'm going to do it. And they just start to put it in a Google search, how to do it. and they can really fumble. They can do some serious damage. They think they're doing something for themselves, and they can end up really mucking the whole thing up. So let's talk about why it could be to a listener's advantage to seek out your help in this process of Roth conversion setup.
Well, like I mentioned, there's a lot of connective tissue that we don't even realize relate to each other. So if I make a Roth conversion in February and we go through the year and everything's normal, well, then no big deal. If I convert too much, I can trigger taxes on my Social Security that I never planned on paying.
Right.
And what they do is once you hit these thresholds, they go back and make you pay taxes on income you earned earlier in the year.
Jeez.
So that's an issue.
Yeah.
They can tax up to 85% of your Social Security benefits.
Right.
And if you take too much and convert it, because that's the biggest question is people say, I think Roth is good. How much? How much do I convert? And I've had people come in and say, I did 20 grand last year. Why? It just seemed like a good number. And then we look at their tax returns and realize that 20 grand
bumped them,
cost you an extra $6,000 or $7,000 in taxes that you weren't supposed to pay. So tell me now the tax rate, because you thought, well, I did my 20,000. The taxes on it was about $3 grand, no big deal. But then because of what it did to your Social Security, now it cost you $9 grand to convert $20,000. I'm like, that's a 45% tax bracket. That's crazy. That's really, really high. And so I don't think that should be necessarily the case. I think we need to have a really good understanding of what would be the negatives potentially of Roth conversion.
Okay.
Because there are some people I sit down with, I say it doesn't make sense for you.
Okay.
We are past the point of diminishing returns. We should no longer be Roth converting because we're so close to really making an inappropriate tax bracket jump that it doesn't make any sense. So that is the biggest issue. Distribution of assets, protection of assets, minimization of taxes. That's the whole goal of Roth conversion. And if the goal is to minimize taxes, and by doing that, you screw up your taxes, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest issue, because whether it's not about what stocks do I buy in my Roth. It's not about what positions do I hold, or should I? I believe that everybody probably should have Roth money, but finding that sweet spot is a dialed in science. It's a sweet science. We just got to work it through understanding all the other things. Then again, if I Roth convert, do I pay more in Social Security taxes? Do my Medicare premiums go up? How does this affect me 2 to 3 years from now? Because remember that IRMA and Medicare, they look back 2 years. So you could be at like 64 years old thinking, well, since there's no Medicare this year, I'm going to do this. But then realizing that 2 years from now, it may really hurt you. So there's a lot of stuff we have to know about it.
Yeah.
And to just say, well, I'll do 10 grand because it seems okay, that's not a good model.
So I guess the real takeaway here is understand how a Roth conversion can affect you from soup to nuts. Get the full umbrella of the effects of a Roth conversion and how it could not just affect your portfolio, your investments, but your tax you pay that year, your Medicare in a few years, Social Security, the hip bones connected to the knee bones, connected to the ankle bones, connected to the foot bone. So understanding how it all works together. Obviously, of course, Mike being a certified financial planner, that's a big difference between what he does and what a lot of other financial advisors in this world can do, is because he has the certification. He can talk to you about taxes and all these different things and how it's going to affect you. A conversion could be a really great thing, but just really, really, really be sure that you truly understand how it will affect your overall circumstance and position, particularly, as he was saying, getting close to Medicare. All the things that you aren't aware of is what Mike and his team are here to help educate you on. So let's get to work on this conversation. MichigansRetirementCoach.com is our website. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, helping you understand how to make a Roth conversion work as best as possible within your plan, is what Mike and his team are here to help you with. Again, it's MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.